Welcome to part 2 of Mega March, a deep dive into the stories found in the original Mega Man series of games. In episode 64 of Our Story So Far TV, I covered Mega Man 1, 2, and 3, the Mega Man games I truly grew up with. Today, Mega Man 4, 5, and 6, games I had played a little bit in my youth, but never completed. Mega Man 4 was released by Capcom in the United States in 1992. The game doesn't stray at all from the formula of the first 3 titles in the franchise. Mega Man runs, jumps, and shoots his way through levels, fights a robot master at the end, takes their power, and uses it to attack his next enemy. This game, however, introduced some new mechanics, and to be honest, I found the bosses some of the most difficult in the franchise. To counterbalance what I thought were rather difficult enemies was the fact that you didn't have to necessarily rely on the weakness of each enemy to a particular weapon type. This due to the fact that Mega Man 4 introduced the Charge Shot. Holding the B button allows you to fire a charged Mega Buster shot, and is extremely useful throughout the entire game. There were a number of times when I used up all of my ammunition of a certain type that may have made a Robot Master easier, but a well-timed charge shot from the Mega Buster allowed me to finish a level. Even at least one of the weapons obtained from a Robot Master allows you to charge it when using it. The sound design was handled by a returning veteran of the series, although a new composer took the reins for the music, but did not disappoint. The music in Mega Man 4 is just as iconic as other games in the series, and fits in as obvious Mega Man music right away. Graphically, Mega Man 4 holds true to what made the first 3 games great, and the character designs were submitted via contest. The game developers seem to embrace the characters and enjoy working with them. The game also features a few visual tricks to give levels depth, including occasionally putting objects in the foreground to block your view, or interactive items in the background. Still, I found the difficulty of this game to ramp up to an unusual degree. There were tiny, stupid things that frustrated me, like how long it took for a Robot Master's health bar to fill up before a fight. Certain little things like that just aggravated me because of how they dragged on. But the enemies seem to give you a lot less room to work. When they jump, it seems to be right at you. And more like Mega Man 1 and 3, the frequent health drops are gone. Although Rush makes an appearance in this game with the exact same feature set as Mega Man 3, I actually don't recall using Rush Marine even once in this game. There was an opportunity, but it never seemed necessary. Still, I wanted to play Mega Man 4 because I never knew what was next for Proto Man. All I knew was that he appeared in Mega Man 3 and did battle with Mega Man from time to time, then rescued you at the end of the game. When I started Mega Man 4, I wasn't expecting how it began. Let me show you. First, this is the first Mega Man game to really open with a cutscene, at least for the first time since Mega Man 2, which even that wasn't much. But quickly you realize this is recapping the events of the first 3 games, then quickly introduces a new villain, Dr. Cossack. Dr. Cossack has built 8 robot masters of his own with the intent of hunting down Mega Man. Wait, what? This doesn't seem like a continuation of the story that was building up in Mega Man 3. Wasn't there a peacekeeping mission? Wasn't Dr. Wily working with Dr. Light at the beginning of Mega Man 3 until you realized it was all a ruse? And then he escaped at the end of the game. Didn't they have to get some sort of energy crystals from various mining colonies? And what happened to Proto Man? There's no mention of him at all. Hold on, let me see what the manual has to say about this. Mega Man 4, Invitation to Doom. A year after the destruction of Gamma, a mysterious message arrives at Dr. Light's lab. Good evening, Dr. Light. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Dr. Cossack. You may not have heard of me, but soon the world will know my name. Over the years, you've been hailed as the greatest robot designer in the world, while my robotic creations have been totally ignored. I cannot allow this to continue. The world must be made aware of my genius. From my Siberian citadel, I've sent 8 of my most powerful robots to destroy the titanium troublemaker, Mega Man. Once they have obliterated him, I will place his broken body on display for the entire world to see. Only then will I be allowed to take my place as the greatest robot designer of all time. Signed, Dr. Cossack. That's pretty menacing, but sure enough, nothing more about Proto Man. In the last episode, I tried to streamline things, and at least do my best to avoid spoilers other than finding out Proto Man was the prototype of Mega Man, the first version. But for this one, I need to dig into some genuine spoiler territory. Because as you reach the end of Mega Man 4, you realize the game is much longer than you anticipated. Proto Man does indeed show up, and with him, he brings Kalinka, Dr. Cossack's daughter. It's then you realize that Dr. Cossack has been acting against his will, and that Dr. Wily has been behind this evil scheme all along. So it looks like Proto Man is shaping up to be a good guy, but once again, he disappears immediately after this revelation, and is otherwise unseen in Mega Man 4. So you defeat Wily once more, and off he goes. Without missing a beat, I hop to 1992's Mega Man 5. This game continued the use of the Mega Buster, revamped Rush to what is probably my least favorite version, a version of Rush Coil with the spring on the bottom making him act as a moving platform, and then a version of Rush Jet which has some odd automatic horizontal movement that drives me crazy. There's a level where Mega Man hops onto some kind of jet ski type device, and why Rush Marine wasn't used for this is beyond me. However, the game does at least experiment with various new mechanics not seen in previous games in order to keep things fresh. Mega Man 5 does actually do a few things that I found very interesting, especially from a graphics perspective, such as this late stage boss whose shield seems to rotate around his body in an almost 3D perspective, which you as the player have to time correctly in order to get your shots through. Overall, however, the graphics and sound are more the same, and while I hate saying that, by no means do I mean it as a negative. The music is good, the sounds are what you know and love, and although there are still some minor frustrations and annoyances that, for me, tend to slow down the gameplay, overall, it's just another excellent Mega Man game. How does a franchise pump out this many games and never have one that just feels like a total dud? Mega Man 5 also introduced Beat and the M-Tank. I failed to unlock Beat in my playthrough, but he's the little tiny bird that you can use to get some bonus hits and use as a protector in some levels. Not necessary, but very handy. The M-Tank is something I only found one of in my playthrough, though I'm not sure how many there are in the game. It behaves like an E-Tank, but rather than just filling your health, it also refills all of the weapons you have in the game. This is extremely useful because several of the levels towards the end of the game take heavy advantage of these weapons, where in previous Mega Man games there were a few places here or there you could use the weapons. All in all, they were focused on defeating bosses. In order to complete the boss rush near the end of Mega Man 5, I absolutely had to use that M-Tank, and it was a lifesaver. Luckily, boss battles after that seemed mostly weak to the charged Mega Buster shots, so using special weapons was not as important. But just who was I doing battle with? Let's take a look at the game's intro. just see Proto Man kidnap Dr. Light? I thought he was helping me in the previous game. Hold on, let me see the manual. Mega Man 5, brother against brother. Cossack to Mega Man. Cossack to Mega Man. Come in, Mega Man. Proto Man has gone wild. City Hall and the spaceport have been totally destroyed, and the city's power grid is in shambles. I've never seen destruction on this scale before. I know you're worried about Dr. Light, but your first duty is to free the city from the grip of Proto Man's robots. I can modify your reactor to give the Mega Buster a little more power, but the rest is up to you. Dr. Light and I have been working on a special project, but it's not finished yet. Maybe if I can get it working, it might give you an edge. Remember to watch your back, Mega Man. Proto Man seems to have become more ruthless than we thought possible. Good luck. Cossack out. Wow, Dr. Cossack is back and even he is worried about this. Maybe I was wrong to trust Proto Man after all. Maybe he's been infected with some kind of virus and Dr. Light needs to cure him. Unfortunately, it's nothing so exciting. Proto Man doesn't seem to appear anywhere in the game until you're about to do battle with him after working through his fortress. Just before he attacks, a sickly version of his whistle theme plays. But then... once you beat this morph robot, Dr. Wily reveals himself, and reveals that it was simply an imposter all along. You battle your way through another Wily fortress and face, in my opinion, the most difficult boss in any of the Mega Man games so far. It's not that the patterns are difficult, simply that his hitbox is so tiny. Your jump shot must be precise to take him down. It took me way too long to finish this boss. Maybe it was because I was about 8 hours straight into playing Mega Man games, and I was a little tired. I don't know, but if I lose all of my Mega Man cred, that's fine with me. This was my hardest Mega Man experience so far. The final battle with Wily after this was a breeze in comparison. Regardless, I had to dive into Mega Man 6. Once I was rested up a little bit, I took on the challenge of the 6th installment, the final Mega Man game to appear on the original NES, late in life, all the way in 1994. That's 2.5 years into the launch of the Super Nintendo. We knew Japan got the games first, but wow, was it a bold move to release this on previous gen hardware at that point. I remember seeing this game in stores when I was a kid. Capcom may have been afraid that the series had passed its prime and was already looking forward to their Super Nintendo games, including Mega Man X. Because of that, Capcom chose not to release this game in North America, but Nintendo was confident that even the previous generation console fans were still excited for a new Mega Man game. They licensed the rights from Capcom and published Mega Man 6 themselves. Its sales were boosted by the fact that Nintendo renewed interest in the NES platform by releasing the NES 101, the top-loader NES, that was just $49.99. The Mega Man 6 formula uses tried-and-true techniques for everything from graphics to music, but it definitely took some new risks. Graphically and gameplay-wise, Rush takes on literal new forms as a type of body armor in this game. Rather than Rush Jet being some kind of hoverboard-like device, he's now a rocket pack that fires from Mega Man's shoulders. Power Mega Man is an enhanced combination of Mega Man and Rush that can break through blocks with a strong punch, unlocking many alternative paths through the game. If you do this right, you can once again unlock Beat. For the 6th game in a row now, music was composed by yet another new composer, but it was no less a part of the trademark Mega Man sound. And although some sounds were updated, everything feels right at home. Character designs, just as in Mega Man 4 and 5, were submitted by fans, and in this instance, submissions from Nintendo Power were even taken, and 2 of the character designs were contributed by American players. But what about Dr. Wily? Well, even though he escaped in Mega Man 5, Mega Man 6 begins with an all-new intro featuring an all-new character. Take a look. The instruction manual provides even more detail to this introduction. Mega Man 6, The Mysterious Mr. X. The most talented robot designers from across the globe have come to the first annual robot tournament, sponsored by the billionaire Mr. X. Traveling from Japan, Canada, and the United States, the designers have brought their finest cybernetic creations to do battle in a series of tests to see which robot can claim the title of the most powerful robot in the world. Nothing seems strange as the contest begins, but when the top 8 robots enter the arena for the final event, the lights dim and the mysterious Mr. X appears. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to thank you all for coming to see the final event of my first annual robot tournament. As you know, I have kept the final event of the tournament a secret. This event will test the strength, skill, and intelligence of each of these fine robots. In fact, it will also test the strength and skill of each one of you. That may seem strange, but I'm sure you'll understand when I explain that the final test for these robots is to help me conquer the world. Please excuse me and my robots as we teleport out of here, but we have a lot of work to do. But don't you worry, you'll see me again soon. Real soon. This should be scary, and even though it begins at a robot battle tournament where the strongest combatants have been gathered together, we quickly learn Mr. X has reprogrammed the bots and now they're trying to take over the world. Luckily, Mega Man is nearby to come to the rescue, and when he does, it should be no shock by now that the mask is ripped off to reveal Dr. Wily, once again behind it all along. I was disappointed by this twist because it felt too obvious. It turns out many people involved with the game didn't love this twist either, as later in the Archie Comics Mega Man series of comic books, Mr. X and Dr. Wily would be left as distinct characters. But as far as the game's canon is concerned, it was Wily all along. But this time, he doesn't escape. That's right, the final chapter in the NES saga of Mega Man games sees Wily behind bars. And what a ride it's been! I was so glad to finally get a chance to experience the stories in the later NES Mega Man games that I didn't play when I was younger. To finally know more about the Proto Man saga, to see the evolution of Mega Man's design. The games don't just rely on a little bit of backdrop, but they went to full cinematic style experiences. Cutscenes at the beginning and end of the game, moments of dialogue happening in the middle of the game. So many things show how this franchise evolved from a cool sci-fi concept to a full-fledged series of science fiction stories. But we're not done yet. Mega Man made the jump from 8-bit to 16 and 32-bit consoles, and the transition was a thing of beauty. But was the story? Come back next week to see where the story goes from here, because when it comes to Mega Man, you only know our story so far. Hey everybody, thanks for watching episode number 65 of Our Story So Far TV. I really hope you enjoyed it. I put a lot of work into it. If you did, please hit that like button, and if you think you're becoming a fan, please subscribe. It really helps me out. I hope you're enjoying Mega March so far. This was part 2 in the series, and there's more to come. I should have a new episode ready for you 1 week from today, but in the meantime, if you're looking for something to do, feel free to check out ourstorysofar.tv where you can find all of my old episodes archived in 1080p quality. Until next time, take care of yourself.